Is this the best love story of 2023? The episode we have all been waiting for is finally here. We get to see the relationship between Bill, Frank, Tess, and Joel. This episode was so emotional in so many ways, so let's dive in and break it down. HBO does not hesitate and starts the episode off very emotional, with Joel building a headstone for Tess on the side of the river. You can see as he's piling up the rocks, he is heartbroken. You can see it in his eyes, in his body movement, his body language, and it just shows that how much her death really took a toll on him. As he makes his way back into the woods towards Ellie, there's kind of some tension between them because in some aspect, I feel like he does kind of blame Ellie because he feels like if they wouldn't have taken this on, Tess would still be here and he would still have the woman he loves. Ellie obviously recognizes the tension and confronts Joel.
I wasn't gonna say I'm sorry. I was gonna say that I've been thinking about what happened. Nobody made you or Tess take me. Nobody made you go along with this plan. You needed a truck battery or whatever, and you made a choice. So don't blame me for something that isn't my fault.
And I thought that was like, oh my God, she got some balls. And I think Joel respected that from Ellie and kind of like, you know what, she's right. As they get to the gas station to gather more supplies, Ellie finds the arcade video game and gets excited about it. So I like that they kept that little detail in there. I thought it was hilarious how Ellie was like, I bet it was the monkeys that started it. Because I feel like in current day, we do see that a lot. When viruses start, they're like, oh, it was a monkey, it was a bat, it was a cow or pig. I love that they kind of threw that in there, and Joel kind of breaks it down for her.
No one knows for sure, but best guess, cordyceps mutated. Some of it got into the food supply. Probably a basic ingredient like flour or sugar.
There is a point where Joel wants them to go towards the woods rather than the road because he doesn't want Ellie to see a part of the road. He still has some like fatherly instincts there. Like he kind of wants to shield her away from like the ugly of the world. But obviously Ellie's like, what? Can it kill me? No? Okay, let's go see what it is. And she's like very curious. That's where we see that Fedra did kill some people if there was no space for them, even though they weren't sick. I think it was very sad to see the baby skeleton, like even a baby, wow, like they are very heartless. But I did like how they tied that scene and kind of transitioned into like back then and then looping in Bill's story. That was a really good transition. I love that they kept Bill's character very true to the game, how he is a survivalist. He is booby trapping. He like is very like strict to his rules. I love how they showed how he made his town, how he set up fences everywhere, booby traps to prevent any stalkers, clickers, or outsiders as well. So as the episode goes on, we see the whole city looks very well kept. Whereas in the video game, you can see that like it's pretty much in shambles. You see like things knocked over, cars all over the road. There is a lot less stalkers in the TV show than in the game. I feel like in the game, when Joel finally does get to the town, Ellie and Joel are like constantly trying to stay out of the booby traps as well as stay away from the stalkers. In the TV show, there's like none in Bill's neighborhood. I thought that was interesting. I'm sure it's because there's not enough airtime for them fighting stalkers. As the episode continues, we see how Bill and Frank met. Frank fell into one of Bill's booby traps, and I thought that was hilarious. What a way to meet each other. I love how they developed Frank and Bill's relationship. I am a sucker for a good love story. I know a lot of people are like, well, like in the game, he wasn't like really out, or, you know, they didn't have a relationship. In the game, there are some hints that they might have been lovers. It wasn't explicitly there, but there are some examples. Bill being very upset about seeing his body, telling Joel like that was my partner, and kind of Ellie finding his male pornography. So you can kind of be like, oh, you know, like Bill was into men. In the episode, it showed how Tess, Joel, Bill, and Frank met. It was Frank that would talk to Tess over the radio, and that's how they like met up and ate lunch together, which was very awkward and funny, and I love it. Just as any double date would be, it's kind of awkward sometimes when you know one person, but like the significant others don't know each other, and it's that awkward like sitting down and like small talk. So I thought that was hilarious. In the video games, Joel doesn't know who Frank is.
What, you know this guy or something?
In this episode, Joel knows who Frank is. I thought that was interesting that they decided to change that, but I mean, I'm for it. I was kind of very bummed that they decided to kill off Bill because we didn't get to see the relationship between Ellie and Bill, which was very sassy, very sarcastic, which I really love stuff like that. So I was kind of sad that they decided to go that route, but I love how they showed that Frank pushed Bill to his limits. I love how Frank shook up Bill's world, kind of showed Bill that there is more to life than just surviving, showed him what love is, and kind of living that life together, living a really good life. Frank gets really sick. He has decided that that was his last day to live. They spent it together, super happy, did everything as he's wanted. And, you know, it was very sad, very emotional, and very heartbreaking. And you can see that Bill was just like heartbroken about it and didn't want him to. Like, he was like, what if we find a doctor? Which obviously, like, would probably be impossible. In this episode, they kind of go on the way out as like Romeo and Juliet, where they did like suicide together, and you know, they died together because they loved each other. With this very emotional episode, I am looking forward to the next episode having more action, which I'm super excited about, since if you played the video game, you know that they are going to come into some conflict. Overall, such a great episode. Let me know what was your favorite part of the episode. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and we'll be back with episode 4 breakdown.